Good afternoon. My name is Amin Sulaiman, and I'm here to talk about my research progress presentation. It's on an evaluation of waste management practice and the potential for circular economy principles in the Nigerian aviation industry. When we talk about the circular economy principles, we're talking about how to reuse, remanufacture, recycle, and refurbish things to use again on a later date, not just to throw them away. And again, when we talk about the circular economy, is how it comes back again to the economy to be reused. That's a good introduction for my research progress, and I'm going to continue now with the presentation. I'm talking about the overview, the background, research question and objectives, the progress report so far, what I've achieved, the review of existing literature, methodology, choices, and justification. Also, the changes made along the way, obstacles I've faced, and the challenges I would consider to be faced next. And what next? Obviously, the interviews and how to collect the data and the presentation of the full result. The background in the Nigerian aviation industry has had a rapid increase from 2017 to 2022, and about approximately 300,000 tons of waste being generated across the international airports. As you can see in this picture, it's a Turkish aircraft with some litters, with the cleaners coming out with the litters. What I found out during the research, these litters are taken straight to the refuse dump, and it's just by the airport. Just keep it there for defaction, and then it's on the ground by itself, left there to rot. That's what basically they do with the waste disposal, and it accounts for more than 40% of overall waste in the airports. That is the plastic, and that's why I am doing about the plastic, not all the waste, streamlined to plastic in this project. For the background, as you can see here in this picture, this is a general site you can see in airport in Nigeria. This is in Lagos. While you're taxiing for departure, these are the sites you see. You can see this an aircraft that has been abandoned for years with the seats and everything outside, and that is how it remains. So, and passing all these is what came about for me and inspired me for this topic of the project, to find out what can be done and with these waste products. The research aims to evaluate waste management practices and identify the potential for circular economy principle in the Nigerian aviation industry. The questions so far and the objectives, there are a whole lot of questions, but this to streamline it, these are the specific objectives of the study that I wish to undertake. To access the current state of plastic waste management in the major international airports, including the existing disposable methods, how they are being disposed and how it affects the environment and the economic impacts. To investigate the global circular economy standards regarding management and disposal of plastic waste in airports, and to compare how it's done internationally and how it's done in Nigeria. Also, to identify for improvement purposes, strategies, how to implement, what does the global standards do and what do we do in Nigeria, to see if there's a discrepancy, and otherwise what we can copy from global work. Also, to analyze the challenges and opportunities of the circular economy. What can we do with all these plastic waste that they are being abandoned? As of now, a lot of people come and pick some of the plastics and reuse it, just not like companies, individuals. They take it to their homes, some use it, but nonetheless, that's just a small percentage of the waste products. The main percentage is still kept and not doing anything with it. The progress report. What I have achieved so far. This is a summary that I'm able to achieve in the course of the research work. I've been able to define the research background, question, specific objectives. I've drawn a review of existing literature, previous work, and compared to my own work to decide on a definite study, methodology, and an execution strategy. To draft a semi-structured survey conduct interview, which I am in the process right now. Make contacts with relevant stakeholders to indulge their interest in participating in the interviews. And I give more details in the following slides. These are the existing literature that I used to get some of my work. the conceptual review, waste management in the Nigerian aviation industry, aviation waste management, and in other developed countries, and comparative analysis of the waste models from stakeholders, and the theoretical framework, challenges and opportunities for circular economy adaptation. The methodology I have decided to adopt the qualitative research design for this study. The approach is to gather qualitative data from relevant stakeholders. The study population, it's relevant to two airports in Nigeria, which is the largest international airport in Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. I've crafted a draft for the semi-structured survey, which goes to purposive sampling. It means generally to have a specific category of people and to give a specific questions. People that are known for the work and respondents informed about the topic so they can give informed decisions and the way to move forward. I also came up with the data analysis for the Brown and Clark 2017 approach. It's technically just using about six methods, and we call it steps. The step one is to familiarize with the data, and step two, initial coding. We turn it to how to generate the themes, the validity and reliability of the themes, and we define the naming themes, interpretation, and how to report the project. This is very interesting, and by the time I'm done, it's going to be very good by using all these models and these strategies. The choices and justification. There are a few numbers of points available to adapt the research approach. The major options I shortlisted were three of them. The analysis of secondary data, which we get from other sources that are online, and the ones I've mentioned earlier. The quantitative surveys administered to a large number of airport workers that are relevant and regulates in the industry. Qualitative semi-structured interviews of selected stakeholders, and on careful consideration, I came about with the third option, which is the in-depth understanding. Talk to the people that have in-depth these key stakeholders. In addition, also limitations for the two approaches, such as shortage of publicity available data on airport plastic waste. So it's better for me to deal directly with the people up front and come up with how to talk to them and get my data directly from what the people do. The changes I've made so far. Initially, I adapted a mix of research design, employing both the quantitative, the surveys, and the qualitative data, but via the semi-structured interviews. However, upon reflecting and some feedback, especially from my research, I came up with, decided to stick with the later one, which is the methodology, which is too complex. And streaming the research focus, I've been able to streamline the focus of research to a specific type of waste. And the specific type of waste at the international airports is the plastic waste. Although we know that there's a lot of waste, there's coming in from the airports all the way, and we have a lot of international airports, local airports. So the plastic, I streamline my work just for the plastic, not to be all over, and have a good solution at the end of the project that can be adapted. The obstacle and challenges I've faced so far. Because of the kind of work I do, I'm able to have good access to the airport workers, but otherwise it would have been a challenge. So for now, I don't have any strict challenge. As it moves closer, the sizable number of people, about 15 to 20 across both airports. So the airport in Abuja, about 10 and people, and the airport in Lagos, about 10. So we can have two different airports and come together and see what does this airport do, this airport, and vis-a-vis what happens in the international market also. In the international waste disposal, how plastics are being disposed of internationally compared to the one in Abuja and Lagos. So two things that I would say came up as an obstacle, but I'm able to, for now, to come to pass through it. Is before initially I selected 5 airports, and my supervisor told me it's too much for the project, and which I understand, and I streamlined it to two airports, which are the two international airports in Nigeria. So, and having access to the key stakeholders for the interview, it's not a problem for me, because as a pilot you frequent all these airports, you have access to them, and it's an easy way to to conduct your research. What next? The interviews. Having concluded the introduction literature review, decided to strategy the next phase of the work would carry out the semi-structured interviews. And as earlier discussed, the target populations for the waste sustainability as respondents would be proposably the addition of snowballing technique to gain access to more responders. The interview would be administered in two ways. The administration will be virtually or person to person. So if it's possible, I intend to do more person to person work than the individual, for the availability of the respective respondents. Data analysis and result presentation. Upon conclusion, the data preceded the interview's transcript will be collected and analyzed thematically as discussed. And we talked about how to use the Brown and Clark technique to employ it for steady responses. In addition, the study will recommend a course of action for the adaptation of how the circular economy works and the gaps to be identified and addressed. Okay, for now, this is the end of the presentation, and these are just the references I use for this presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and hope to join me for the rest of the project. Thank you.